The purpose of life isn't to be happy. It's to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to know that you have made a difference, that you have lived and lived well. What is Ralph telling us about being professionals then? First, we're not wired to succeed alone. And yet so often in our work, we default to holding back, guarding what we know, waiting for others to recognize our worth. But we are constantly offered a choice, to close in and conceal, or to step out and contribute. The shift isn't one time, and it isn't big. It's subtle. It shows up in quiet daily moments. When someone speaks up in a meeting, when a colleague hesitates, when a client isn't quite clear about what they want, and when you're thinking about what to deliver next. One path waits to be seen. The other path chooses to see and chooses to serve. In that moment, you decide, am I here to be recognized or to be in service? Because this line of work, being of professional service, it isn't about dumping knowledge. It's about listening. It's about realizing that no technical fix, no matter how right, creates value without human connection. I'm far from perfect, but I am learning that work of significance, work that makes a difference, comes from relationships that matter. And these relationships teach us how to live, how to contribute, and like Ralph says, how to live well. 2 years ago, a nearby utility reached out to me for some help with rate pricing, estimating costs of service, and to build a company and public narrative to go along with it. This is work I've come to know well, 20 years of doing it. I came in calm, experienced, ready, capable. Being invited felt good. My pencil was sharp, and as we talked, patterns emerged everywhere. In that conversation, I began to see their views, their issues, and their opportunities. But that confidence quickly veered into assumption. In my element, I knew where this project was going to go. No, I didn't. That moment was classic, all-knowing. Pride comes before the fall. That first meeting really did go well. The scoping phase was lightning fast. But I took a shortcut against better judgment. I went back to my office, I read reams of background materials from the client, and I began to see their path. I got so excited about showing them, I wrote a letter about it, and I told them how the project would converge. It was highly premature. The work wasn't technically wrong, but my style there was fundamentally not right. I did not yet understand who they were. Looking back, that moment lacked service. The letter landed like a lead balloon. It was my words, not their words. I did not see what they saw. It was not their preferences. I wasn't precisely wrong in the work, but the way that I was delivering it wasn't right. I did not yet understand them. Not long after that letter, the project stopped. That was hard. I learned firsthand that making it your priority to show your worth works the opposite way that you intend it. In that moment, I remember clearly setting aside my humility to think openly with them and instead chose to decide for them. I remember pressing send on that letter. I remember the view from my desk. I remember the weather that day, the layout of my laptop, my keyboard, my mouse. That was hard. It very much affected me. But it was my lack of service in a human sense that led to the premature end of my professional service to them. Years earlier, a different client reached out, said that a lot of residents were speaking to her about installing, at their cost, big infrastructure systems. It was a concept, they had an idea, they didn't have a strategic plan to take them from A to Z. Making decisions as a community when you're spending residents' dollars is hard work. You're often serving a leader who themselves serve others. It becomes a chain of people trying to help other people. You ever tried to shape the ripples in a pond? It's not easy. But one thing I've learned is that the turning point in value is when you begin to see what they see, respect what they believe, and work alongside them to achieve it. In that project, in that tourist town in the Fraser Valley, we began to put people first. The technical work followed local priorities, not the other way around. We slowed down to speed up, avoided shortcuts, and let service to each other shape the work. They came together with a plan. They got their funding. With that plan complete, I left the picture. Implementation started to happen. And years later, the client reached out and let me know that the systems were up and running. Government and industry were coming together to cut the ribbon. She asked if I'd come. I came and she saw me, immediately said, I'll never look at a systems-based project the same way again. It must be people-rooted and it must be service-minded. Not long after that, that same client called me back into a project. She'd gone to her board, she got funding approval on one condition, that she would get to work directly with me and my team. That moment proved something to me, that it wasn't about being the smartest in the room. It's about showing up with care, with patience and respect. Trust built that way lasts longer than any one project. Being of service makes work meaningful. I often think about what Ralph said. What does it mean to be useful? What does it mean to provide professional service? It's not being smarter than others. It's seeing more of others. Having a service mindset doesn't take away from your skills. It gives them purpose. Listen first. Walk alongside your clients, not ahead of them, because that's how you do work that lasts. I've learned sometimes the hard way that contribution is not a moment of brilliance. It's a humble posture. It's consistent. It's generous. It's about intention and quality, and it is deeply human. So the next time you're in that moment of choice between being recognized or being of service, pause. Lean towards service. That's where value is, and that's where making a difference starts. Thanks.